Hello. Okay, now we are going to do the exercise, the vocabulary or let's say the language and use exercise in which you have to rephrase Spanish sentences using vocabulary that you saw in the video. So as usual, you will allow me to share my screen. Okay, these are the sentences that we are going to work with. So what I shall do is that I will read the sentence in Spanish. I will give you a few minutes for you to stop the video and try to do the sentence yourself. And then after that, I will give you the key and I will give you just a very short explanation as to the most important, let's say the highlights in the sentence, the linguistic highlights in the sentence. Sorry. So, the first sentence that we are going to do is: la gente que niega el cambio climático está obviando pruebas científicas que no dan lugar, que no dejan lugar a dudas. How would you transfer that idea into English? Okay, take your time, stop the video if you wish. Okay, the way that I proposed in the key was: climate change deniers are ignoring scientific evidence that leaves no room for doubt, which is okay. Or climate change deniers are ignoring undeniable evidence. Highlights of these sentences. The first highlight is obviously the big origami or the big compound, sorry, the big compound which begins with the noun, the nucleus of the noun phrase, which is denier, and the micro origami within it, which is modifying that nucleus, climate change. So, climate change, change of climate. I mean, you know that when I call it origami, is because we follow the opposite order to the one we use in Spanish. In Spanish, we tend to extend things, to expand things. 1, 2, 3. In English, they fold them up. 3, 2, 1. And they they prefer noun phrases over full sentences in such a way that when we create a full sentence, we need to create a full sentence, but most of the time, subject and verb, which is just the elements in the sentence that necessarily have to appear, we use an it, for example, or then the verb to be, and then the full burden of the meaning sometimes falls on the complement, which is a noun phrase, simply because we do not want to use a noun phrase in isolation. In this case, my noun phrase is the subject, climate change deniers. So, people who deny the climate change, so the climate change has become the adjective, but people who deny, we have squashed it, we have just blended it into one word, which is deniers. I mean, we take the root of the verb and we add the suffix er, meaning someone or something that does that, the action conveyed by the verb. The second sentence that I have given you, why did I give you two possibilities? Because in the second sentence, I am using a complex word. I mean, the root from deny plus a prefix. Prefixes usually change the meaning of the word, and then a suffix which changes the type of word. Are they important? Yes, because they are strategies that allow me to squash, to compress a concept that might take a few words to express, and I can express it into one. It's one of the strategies. So again, the prefix being the strategy to change the meaning, to modify the meaning of the root, and the suffix allows me to adapt that word to the context. I mean, if I want to give an alternative context, but I need to use that root, the suffix allows me to use the context. I usually say that when we have a paradigm, the paradigmatic relationships is the different alternatives I have to express the same concept in English, but sometimes they are incompatible. I cannot use both at a time. I have to use either one or the other. And then the choice that I make will determine these syntagmatic relationships, which means that the order of the words, the type of word will change, so that will provoke changes in my sentence. So these suffixes allow me to adapt the word to the new context that I might have created when I use another term or another phrase in the paradigm. The second sentence is: muchas áreas de la ciudad se inundaron con la venida de agua durante la dana. Surge. I ask you to use the word surge. Okay, take your time. Okay, the sentence that I give you is many areas of the city were flooded by the surge of water during the storm or during la dana. Okay, why surge? Because surge means is very similar to wave, but wave is a regular periodical inflow, and the surge is a sudden, unexpected, big influx of something, an influx of something. So this influx it might be physical, material, like a surge of water, or it might be figurative. You know that most of the times, um, um, for example, a surge of criticism. I mean, you know that most of the times it's not just the literal meaning of words that I'm interested in. Sometimes it's not something that I will use very often, but that literal meaning might lead me to use the same word in a different context, let's say transporting, carrying together with it all of the different nuances of meaning that that word has in the original context. So it saves me from having to give a very long-winded explanation of what that word might mean, or the concept that I want to express. And the listener can understand at once what I really mean by using that word, which sometimes might add a positive or a negative or a derogative connotation to my new meaning. Ok, the next sentence is: los expertos consideran que pronto llegaremos a un punto sin retorno. And I give you, the clue I give you is the word no. Okay, take your time. Okay, so right? The sentence I give you is: the experts in general believe we will soon reach a point of no return. Reach a point of no return is a phrase that appears in the video, and the words collocate together. Reach a point of no return, meaning that a situation has become irreversible. And this is the phrase that Al Gore uses to express that some irreversible damage has been created, for example, to the Antarctica, but also that if we do not take urgent action, we might reach a point of no return, and then probably there would be nothing to be done in this goal. Okay, next sentence. My next sentence is: el incremento gradual del nivel del mar está poniendo en peligro las áreas más bajas. Okay? Right. So the sentence I give you is: the gradual rise in sea level is putting the low-lying areas at risk, or the gradual sea level rise is putting, okay, uh, why the second option? Because in the second option we have an extra origami. They love origamis. They love noun phrases which allow them to shrink expression as much as they can. So the gradual sea level rise, an origami, is putting low-lying areas at risk. Low-lying, again, an origami with making an adjective out of the verb to lie. And it is in between inverted commas an active adjective: areas that lie low. I mean, an active. No, no, for example, remember the ending ing or ed forming adjectives when we add the suffix to the verb. A boring teacher, bored students. The same thing happens in even with compounds. Okay, next sentence. Number 5. La marea hace que a veces las calles de Miami se inunden a pesar de que no ha llovido. Okay, take your time. Right. The sentence I give you is high tide sometimes floods the streets of Miami even when it hasn't rained. Okay, let's. I would like to. The comment I would like to make on this sentence is that sometimes the word tide can be used metaphorically. For example, the adjective tidal means that something something comes and goes. It's fluctuates, let's say. So it's a very useful word, especially when we are talking about trends, which is something that we will have to do with the mediation. So tidal meaning something that that fluctuates, and floods. To flood is another word that can be used metaphorically, meaning to be flooded by something or with something, which means that we have a big amount of whatever it may be that we are talking about, sometimes even beyond control. So, as if it was a surge of water. So, we are flooded with, meaning the amount or the number of something is so high that we can hardly control it. Okay, and finally, sentence 6, la madre naturaleza está obligando al público a enfrentarse a la realidad. A derivative of compel. A derivative. Okay. Mother Nature is compelling the public to face reality. And it's not exactly a derivative. A derivative would be this is a compelling issue. I mean, an issue that really forces us to take action. In this case, it's not a derivative, it's the present progressive of the verb to compel, which means to force, to drive somebody to do something, to urge somebody to do something. And another comment that I would like to make is face, which we are using it in a metaphoric sense, meaning to confront reality. I mean, the face is the first thing that you show when you are confronting something. This gesture, this gesture, yes, of course. This is shows that you are confronting, you are being courageous, and you are confronting something. So to face means to confront. Okay, so thank you for your attention. I hope you found this guidance useful. And then if you like, let's move on to the next video where I'm going to help you with the other sentences where we have to use some specific phrases that I have supplied you with. Thank you very much for your attention.